Well, we lost Sean Stiers, and he's heading over to the Joyce Center, the Joyce Athletic and Convocation Center, Purcell Pavilion, whatever 17 names that place has now. He's heading over there for the women's basketball game against Florida State. And so now he has left us to our own druthers of rapid fire. So, Jesse Stiers, are you ready for a little rapid fire?
Let's take this thing home with a great rapid fire.
And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to take this all the way home with a little bit of rapid fire. So to kick things off, Jesse, let's talk a little bit of the combine, a little NFL combine with Notre Dame players. So Notre Dame, you know what? Let me just put this out there. I think this is the first time that you have primarily been the author of rapid fire.
You like that? I was on a roll today. I don't know if you knew, but I was on like a 5-minute heater. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna knock this thing out,
dude. That's why I sent you the GIF of the video game. He's on fire because you were, man. It's just like
I loved it. It was a perfect meme. I was like, this is great.
Oh yeah, I could tell. I could feel it, and it was fantastic. So
see, now everyone's gonna yell at me if the questions suck, but I'll take that. I'll take that to the chin.
Yeah, it's okay. Sometimes you're the one in charge. You got to take the glory, and you got to take the criticism. It's just the way it goes.
I'll even give a disclaimer for all those out there. It might be like, oh, what stupid Cowboys or Cubs questions are going to pop up in rapid fire? None of them.
None.
0.
Yeah, 0. Very impressive that there are 0, by the way. So yeah, 100%. All right, so the first one, like I said, NFL Combine / Notre Dame. So Notre Dame defensive tackle Howard Cross being asked to participate or to partake in football drills or in fullback drills. Is that what that means? Is that what FB means?
Fullback, yes. Fullback drills.
In fullback drills at the Combine is blank. That changes the whole aspect of this question, by the way. I was like, why would they not ask him to participate in football drills? Fullback makes so much more sense now. All right, go ahead.
Turn the gears a little bit. I think it's intriguing because the reason why it's intriguing is to me it shows Howard Cross's overall athleticism and probably, to a degree, well, I guess in the NFL they use some of those big fullbacks, but again, it shows maybe his maybe he's a little bit undersized. We all know that for a defensive tackle, I think. And so when you're undersized and you have a bit more athleticism, how can we, maybe work you in other ways? And that's not saying he's going to be primarily a fullback. Maybe there's a team out there that wants him as a defensive tackle, and they're like, hey, we want to use you in a couple fullback packages as well because we really like your athleticism, your physicality, and the way that you can, get on blockers essentially. And so to me, it's intriguing because I think it unlocks maybe another part of Howard Cross's game that we weren't familiar with quite yet.
I love it. I think, as a coach, what do you want from your players? You want versatility, right?
Yeah.
And if you can bring in Howard Cross and you know what he can do on the interior of a defense, right? And you're going to have your question marks because he doesn't fit the mold from a physical standpoint, right? From his height and all that. He doesn't fit that mold. Okay, I get it. But let's think outside the box a little bit because he makes plays, okay? And if you're going to bring him onto your roster, what else can he do? Right. And we know that the fullback is a lost art in the NFL. But if you've got a good one, you can make some things happen. Right. And so maybe he's a part-time defensive lineman and a part-time fullback. Part-time and part-time equals full-time, baby. And that makes you that much more valuable. And so I think if you're Howard Cross, you're like, hell yeah, let's do this. You know what I mean? Like, you've got to be excited about the opportunity because it makes you that much more valuable.
Well, like you said, the most important thing you said there was value. And on a team where you only have so many roster spots, think of how valuable it is to have a guy who can fill 2 spots. So now you can give an extra roster spot to someone else because this guy can play fullback and defensive tackle. You know what I mean? So it's like the way that you're helping the team in so many ways is just great. And so I think it just shows to me the overall kind of completeness and athleticism that Howard Cross has as a player that might have gotten taken advantage of to a degree.
Well, and I also think that he can that it shows they trust him as well, right?
He's a
They
football
trust.
guy.
Yeah, I mean, his dad obviously was in the NFL. They trust that he's got the mental capabilities to make this work and make it and figure it out, right? So I love it. I would not be upset if whatever team I rooted for had a Howard Cross on it that was playing on both sides of the football. Like, how cool would that be? That would be awesome.
I
I'm
just
on
would love
board.
to hear Howard Cross touchdown, like that would be
Oh,
pretty, after having none in college and just to like hit a fullback dive maybe in the NFL and get a touchdown.
Tommy's got it right here. Fullback trap, baby. You bring
As
that
long as he
guard
doesn't
across.
fumble, right?
Let's go. Let's go. Fullback trap. There are very few plays on this planet that I like more than a fullback trap. I'm not gonna lie to you. I am all about it. I'm all about it. I love a good trap play, man. And you give the big guy the ball who gets all the blocking done. Let's go. Fullback trap, baby. Tommy, you and I are on lockstep there. Lockstep. Let's go. All right. Do you buy or sell Tom Brady and Matt Stafford? And I'm using the air quotes, right? Coincidentally, running into each other at a ski resort.
I 100% sell this, Vince. And the reason why I sell this is, one, the Raiders are dog crap at quarterback, and Tom Brady is minority owner. Matt Stafford has been given the green light by the Rams to explore other options as a quarterback. And you're just telling me that you're randomly linking up at a ski resort, and I think it was like in Minnesota or something, or Montana.
It was in Montana. It's in Montana, and that's where Brady has a home, by the way.
So you're just telling me all these things randomly, all the stars aligned, and the Raiders have some good draft picks, and Stafford's aging, and it kind of sounds like the marriage between him and McVay with the Rams is slowly kind of turning ways now. It's a big sell for me, and I don't mind that at the end of the day. I don't mind that they're meeting up or whatever. Just, you don't got to act like it's a secret or that it's a coincidence. Like, I think it's great that Tom Brady is trying to bring in someone like Matt Stafford to the Raiders, who has experience, who plays at a very high level, who can bridge that gap until you maybe develop a younger quarterback at the end of the day. So, again, I have no problem with it. I have a problem when you're just blatantly lying and be like, yeah, we just randomly are at a ski resort in Montana together.
Look, if I'm not mistaken, when Stafford was with the Lions, him and McVay went on vacation together. And all of a sudden, McVay let's have him as a quarterback for the Rams. Let's make that trade. Like, these things don't just happen, folks. Like, and anybody that says that it does is naive, or they're just lying to your face. And in this regard, let's just be honest about it, folks. The Rams said he could look around, right? So it's not like this is subterfuge. It's not like they're trying to be on the down low, the DL, like that. No, it's out in the open.
The only person on the down low is Tom Brady. I think he's the only reason why this is like hush hush.
Just, save it for the booth when you're pretending like you're not a minority owner of an NFL team. But in this regard, I would do the exact same thing that both of them are doing. You're exploring your best options. I have no problem with that whatsoever, to be perfectly honest with you. So just be out front about it, man. Look, we're trying to make our team better. And so we're looking for what we think is the best quarterback that's available. All those things are true. You know what I mean? It's okay. And if Matt Stafford ends up as the quarterback of the Raiders, all of a sudden they're a viable team, in my opinion. I mean, if they can run an offense that is conducive to his skill set, he still has gas in the tank, in my opinion. So I think they're going to be just fine. Who wouldn't want to play in that beautiful stadium in Vegas? Not that he's not playing in a beautiful stadium in LA, but like, he's just trading one for the other. Do it. More stuff to talk about for us if Matt Stafford goes to the Raiders. So I'm all for it. But
I love that the chat is just going through all these fullback plays right now. Everyone's just lobbing up their favorite fullback play.
Hey, Jesse, who was was one of my fullbacks on my team when I coached?
That would be me.
It'd be this guy right here.
One time.
Till you fumbled.
One time.
Over. Fired. You don't fumble.
I would have. Yeah, but Vince, I could have been a tremendous fullback. You really held me back on the offensive side of the ball.
Your running backs coach, by the way, and this is, nobody even cares about this conversation at this point, but your running backs coach is now an assistant coach where I currently work. It is official. It is official.
Well, I hope he ruined some kid's life because they fumbled the ball one time. And you can tell him I said that.
Oh, I think he's going to be coaching pass catchers, but we'll see what
You
happens.
know how much skill I could have brought to the offensive side of the ball?
We saw the one-handed catch at tight end.
That's
Just
what I
saying.
mean. The athleticism and skill was
Just
there.
saying.
I was being handcuffed. It's not my fault. There were like four running backs who could run like sub 4.4s, 4.5s at the time.
I mean, some missed opportunities there in the future, but that was the other head coach's fault.
It's
anyway,
so
moving
funny.
on.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
You and I could talk about it, but anyway, yeah, let's move on. So, rapid fire. Buy or sell. This is all you here. Buy or sell trading a 25-year-old superstar because of supposed drinking and hookah habits.
I mean, Vince, come on. Whether you like the NBA or not, it's absolutely outlandish to trade a 25-year-old superstar, one of the most upcoming stars in all of basketball, because of these alleged, poor drinking habits, hookah habits, not taking the conditioning seriously, yada, yada, yada. Vince, I got one question for you, and you can even answer this without the NBA, without the lack of NBA that you watch. Do you think the Dallas Mavericks make the NBA championship last year without Luka Doncic?
No chance.
Exactly. And what do we know about teams who play in the NBA championship? They play the most amount of games in the entire season, right? So what's a guy supposed to do when he's playing longer than everyone? He's, having a little celebratory drinks here and there. And it's so funny because there's this clip that goes around after they won the Western Conference Finals last year. Luka's in the tunnel and he's with his dad and he's drinking a beer. And then one of the Mavs, ownership guys comes. He just takes the beer out of his hand. Just doesn't say anything. Doesn't look at him. Just takes the beer out of his hands and keeps walking. And so, it's just, I get it. These guys are professionals and you want them to treat every moment like a professional, but man, there's times to celebrate. Kid's 25 years old and taking you to the NBA finals. There's no reason to just sever ties because you think he has these alleged issues. So that's where I'll leave that one.
I will say that we don't know all the details. That's what I'll say. Now, if he's just an occasional social drinker, whatever. If he's coming to practice hammered and coming to games hammered and can't put the drinks down, okay, different discussion, right?
Yeah.
So, and I don't know where on the scale he is, right? Is this a legit day-to-day problem, or is this just, are we overreacting to being a social drinker and having a celebratory beer? I feel like it's someplace in between, and I don't know. I don't know how to answer this question because I feel like I don't have all the facts. If he's a social hookah smoker and a social drinker, then I don't really care. What you do on your off time is your off time. But if it's affecting his, him being on time, him, the way he practices, the way he plays, then we got issue. I would have more of an issue with the fact that he clearly is overweight and looks kind of lazy on the floor. I would have more of an issue with that than I would with the other. Now, is the other contributing to that?
And that's what the argument they're
right?
trying to make is, you're a bit overweight, your conditioning is lacking. We've told you, but we continuously see you drinking a beer or, doing whatever at the end of the day. So I guess my only other counter to that would be how many professional athletes do you see though, sharing a glass of wine or having a drink or all those guys go out to the club, you know what I mean? And so it's just it is what it is. And look at the most prime example is Jokic, the guy for the Nuggets that keeps winning MVPs and going to, NBA finals. And it's the same thing though.
Off time? What's he doing?
In his off time, he doesn't do anything. He goes back to his home country and rides horses and donkeys and
there we go.
And parties. And so why is there a different standard when clearly, when you have one of the most talented players in the world and they're working hard. Like everyone wants some time just to not do what they do, Vince. You know, like not
I get
everyone
that.
wants to be submersed in their basketball duties 24/7. Like there's just a thing called being a human. And if like you said, if Doncic is just showing up hammered and he's got, hookah resin all over him and all that stuff, okay, I get it. But the guy took you to the NBA finals and almost won the thing, Like that just he's not doing that if he's incredibly out of shape like you think he is.
All fair points. All fair points. I'm just saying we don't know everything. That's all I'm saying.
For sure.
Fair? Yeah.
Fair.
So,
I just don't think you burn that bridge at 25 knowing how much your fan base, loves him. And
yeah, it just depends. Like, how much was he butting heads with management? Like, what were these conversations like? Are they
and how
telling
many
him just
times
to
do
cut
they
it out
have to have the
completely?
conversation?
Right. Yeah. Like, those are all pieces of this puzzle, in my opinion. If he was just telling management to go, fly a kite, I'll do whatever I want, whenever I want. I don't know that I want that guy around. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like I said, I'm trying to look at it from whatever everybody's point of view on this one, because, and it's not my lifestyle. It's not the kind of stuff that I do. So I'm trying to take my opinion out of it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it does matter what the actual, results on the basketball court is. And is that, I think the bigger question is just, is that result sustainable with these extracurricular activities?
Well, I think that's the argument is they see him as a depreciating asset. They think his
Right,
career is going to
exactly.
quickly go downhill and that he can't sustain this level because of,
Right.
lack of conditioning, and because of the lack of conditioning, the injuries that have popped up, and now you're doing the same stuff we told you not to do to maybe, prevent some of the weight gain
Right.
and all that stuff. So
I think they
it's
pulled the
so
trigger a
hard
little
to
early.
wrap
I
your
will
head
say
around.
that. Yeah, right. Exactly. Completely agree. I feel like they pulled the trigger too early. But I think they just saw an opportunity and they took it. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I feel it went down, because they certainly did. It was not an equal trade.
I just thought it was awesome that, they played Lakers and Mavs played Tuesday night.
Yes, they
And
did.
Luka had a 20-point triple-double, and the guy who basically fired him was sitting in the stands watching. So
Sitting courtside, wasn't he? Like, that's
yeah,
kind of ballsy too.
I think that's
FYI.
pretty poetic justice at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, let's do a little college hoops. Our buddy Rick Pitino, he's everybody's buddy.
He's everyone's uncle, basically.
Yes, he is. Rick Pitino has clinched a share of the Big East regular season championship. It is blank that he has now won 5, count them, 5 regular season championships with, count them, 5 different programs.
I think it's legendary. The word I use is legendary.
That's well done. Legendary.
Dairy. I mean, it's hard enough to win 1 in your career, Vince.
Yeah.
1. But to win 5 with 5 different schools, like, that's the definition of saying, I don't give a crap where I'm at. You give me 10 guys, and we're going to figure this thing out, Because let's think about it. He did it with Louisville, did it with St. John's. I had the other 3. I can't think of the other 3 right now.
Probably.
Kentucky was one of them.
The other 2, I'm not so sure.
But still,
to be honest with you.
Point still proven.
Yeah.
It's legendary to show up and say, you know what? I don't care if I'm at this school, that school. We're going to figure out a way to win. And not only are we going to figure out a way to win, we're going to be the best darn team in the whole conference. Like, that's legendary status to me. That's like, no one could say anything to you at that point, Like, as a basketball coach, what are they going to say? Oh, you could only win here. Oh, you had a lucky year. Oh, that all goes away. There's no more, like this not margin of error, but there's just all the air stuff goes out the window. It's not just a one-off thing when you win 5 different times with 5 different schools.
It's amazing. And look, I'll sometimes he obviously doesn't leave on the best of terms with some of his schools. But I'll say it. I'll go on record. If things aren't going to work out with Micah Shrewsbury at Notre Dame, just bring in Rick Pitino and let's just get this thing fired up. Let's go.
Boston and Iona were the other two schools.
Okay. And he was the head coach at Boston University before I was born, 1978.
And they won a conference championship.
Hey, 1978 to 1983. That was his first head coaching job ever. So, yeah, Boston U. He was in the Ivy League, baby. It's impressive. All right.
And that's the other thing. It's like you got Ivy League, you got the SEC, you got the ACC, you got the Big East.
Literally all over the place.
So it's not
all like, over the place.
The amount of variety that this man shows is tremendous.
Yes. Very impressive. Very impressive. All right. We got a couple more here we're going to get to before we get out of here. Let's go to the NFL. Would you, Jesse Stiers, rather attend the NFL Combine or the NFL Draft?
So me as a nerd, I would say I think I would more nerd out at the Combine. The draft would be cool for like the first round, but then you got to sit there and wait. I don't care about everyone else's pick after the first round. I only care about my team's pick.
Fair.
And so really I feel like the day would become long with not a lot of substance. So at the Combine, I mean, think about it, Vince. You could at the Combine, you think every guy could potentially be drafted by your team, right? You're like, oh, I want that guy. I want this guy. I want that guy. And then as the nerd side of me, I get to see all these drills that they're running, how they're moving, all of it. And so I just think there's more action at the NFL Combine. It's constant. You could literally watch a different position every day. And like I said, the NFL Draft, it's like outside of the first round, I don't want to just stand around and wait until my team is on the board again. So I have to go to the Combine.
I'm going to take this I'm going to put a different kind of a spin on it. So I am going to look at this as I want full access to the war room for the NFL Draft, and I want to be in whatever meetings that these coaches and GMs are having with players. Okay, I want to be with a team. Okay, so if you're giving me the option of hanging with a head coach and a GM and all that at the Combine, or hanging in the war room at the NFL Draft for the entire draft, I'm going draft. Like, I want to be in the room. I want to hear why these decisions are made. I want to see some trades happen
on the fly.
All of it. Like, I want to be in the room, man. Now, I think it would also be fascinating to sit with some guys at the Combine and sit in those meetings with players and, see what these coaches think of these drills, and do they even think the drills are worth it? You know what I mean? Like, where's your head at when you're watching the 40? You know what I mean? Like, I want all of that information. So I would take the draft, but it would be close because I would love to pick the brain of everybody involved. I think it would be so much fun. So much fun. That's like a bucket list thing, and it'll never happen. But I want to be in a draft.
You'll be an NFL coach. Come on, stop that.
Oh, I would love that so much. All right. What is your favorite NFL Combine event?
So I think everyone de facto is going to say the 40-yard dash. So I'm not going to be lame like everyone else.
Fair.
I like to see, there's two drills. I like to see the wide receiver gauntlet where they're running over them like sideline to side. Yeah, sideline to sideline. I love the wide receiver gauntlet. And the other drill I like is seeing the linebackers kind of drop into coverage, basically. Like you got to kind of have to – there's a cone drill. I don't know the exact name of it, so don't quote me or don't get mad at me or yell at me when it's not exactly it. But there's a drill where you kind of have to – you're moving forward, like you're filling down on a run fit, and then you got to come back and drop and get into your pass drops. I think as a former linebacker, it's cool to see – I mean, I was never a guy who was fluid in coverage. Like, let's just be point blank about it. I was a run stuffer, and I was really good at it. I wish I could have played in the NFL like 20, 30 years ago when like all middle linebackers had to do was run stuff, because I would have been great.
Yeah.
But needless to say, knowing my deficiencies, I like to see how other people do and how fluid they are comparatively. So it's like, because that's the difference maker at linebacker these days is how can you move in space and help out in coverage. So I love those kind of drills.
It's a great question. I am just not like a combine guy. You know what I mean?
You're not the guy who throws on NFL Network in the background.
No, not in any stretch. Man. Like I could go to the combine if I wanted to. Like, it's right down the way. It's in Indianapolis. You know what I mean? Like, And it does not take much, by the way, to get a credential to go to the NFL Combine. Like it does not take much. So we could definitely do that if we wanted to, Jesse. And maybe we should someday. But
that would be a nice little trip.
I'm going to go off the beaten path, and I'm going to say the 225 bench because I'm always in awe of guys that can just move that weight around, man. Like 100%. That's where I'm at. I'm going to go 225, repping it out because I love watching like the strength coaches just like scream and yell and like I think that's fascinating. I think it's hilarious.
Could you get one up, Vince? Could you get
No,
22?
Not a chance. Zero chance.
Do you know how many Dylan could do?
I do actually. He could do it twice.
Nice.
Yeah, and he's the freaking kicker. So yeah, it's funny. He told me the other day. He's like, Dad, I knew we were in trouble this year when I was one of the strongest people on the team. And I was like, ooh, yeah, that's trouble.
Yeah, that's not a good.
That's trouble. Now he's very strong, but he's like, yeah, I knew that was going to be a problem. But anyway, yeah, Tom wants to know how many you could get.
I think in the day, I was maxed out around like 18 to 20.
That's pretty good.
Was right about where I was. And
what about
I actually had
this day
right now.
Yes.
That's a good question. I did do some 75-pound dumbbell bench press this morning. So it's hard to say because like you gotta feel the weight, Vince. Like I couldn't just go throw 225 on there right now and like if you gave me like 2 weeks and I could like feel that weight for a couple, I could definitely get you 10. I could get you 10.
Wow. That's impressive. That's impressive. There's no chance. No chance. Zero chance.
I'd say 8 to 10. I would wager on myself to get 8 to 10.
Okay. We might have to make that happen. The off season is here. Like we don't really have a whole lot to talk about. So
our show is going to be the Irish Breakdown Combine.
Just have a combine. Oh God, can you imagine if everybody that worked for Irish Breakdown did a combine? I think we might have to do that.
We can have people like set over unders on our times and reps.
We can go run the 40. We can do. I mean, I do have access to a high school. Like we can make this happen. I'm just saying. DK says I'm trying to get my son beat up at school tomorrow. They'd have to catch him first. So that would be that. He's pretty good. He's a sprinter, DK. So just saying, he did go to state for sprinting. But anyway, all right.
How many pull-ups I could do? Not to cut you off, but
nope, you're good.
Like 2 or 3, maybe. Pull-ups are hard.
Yes,
pull-ups are very hard.
Johnny's accurate. Ambulance on standby. They wouldn't even have to be on standby. They could be right there because they would be needed. Like there's,
I don't, and I mean this in every way. I think my dad would win that combine.
Really? He's put together. I will say
he
that.
Works out every day, Vince.
Every
day.
Yeah.
So if there's someone that's not going to get hurt, it's probably him because he at least works out every day. I'd get him in a cup. I'd get him in a good amount, but I think there would be some ones that he would be sneaky good at that people wouldn't expect, I guess.
I feel like the upper body strength stuff, I'm not winning because I've never had a strong upper body. Never have.
And
my son got that from me.
And finesse, I think, more. Not.
But we're both strong, like waist down, like strong legs, because there's a catcher and like that whole thing. But like, I think I could get everybody in the 40.
You probably could.
From IB. From IB.
From IB.
I'm setting the bar very low. The bar is very low.
I think a dark horse would be what's his name? This is really bad. Trevor.
Well, because he's young. He's like
we're about the same age.
Yeah.
And he's a bit skinnier than I am, so I think that would bode well for him.
He played option quarterback. He was a triple option quarterback, FYI. There's a chance you guys played each other, by the way.
We did. I did the math.
What's that?
I did the math. My senior year, he was the quarterback when we scrimmaged them at Memorial.
Really?
Yes.
There it is.
We haven't spoke about it.
That needs to happen. I'm making that happen. We need to talk about that. So, all right. Do we have more questions? I don't even know. No, we don't. That's it. We made everybody stick around to listen to that back and forth. and we've got no more questions. So thanks everybody for hanging out with us. Really appreciate it. Another rapid fire on the IB Nation Sports Talk. We'll be back tomorrow. It'll be, I believe, Sean and myself because Jesse has to get dolled up for his team pictures. And so it's going to be Sean and I. We're going to do a little rapid fire. It's Friday Fire. So we will be back tomorrow at 5 o'clock. So everybody hang in there. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Jesse, you have a great rest of your Thursday, sir. And make sure you smile nice and big.
It just started thunderstorming really hard here.
Really?
Like, I'm not kidding you. In the last, 3 to 4 minutes, just, downpour and thunder everywhere.
That's crazy. It's definitely.
But that's a great way to end my Thursday. I like a nice thunderstorm.
The thunderstorm. You're about to go take a nap. All right.
Time to get in bed.
Everybody, we'll talk to you later. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.